Question 789. After a purchase offer was accepted by a seller, it is discovered that the first trust deed the buyer is taking over is $100,000, instead of the $110,000 stated in the listing. What remedies, if any, are available to the buyer? A. Buyer must continue with the transaction or lose his deposit. B. Since the mistake has reduced the property cost by $10,000, it is to the buyer's advantage and he has no right to back out of the contract. C. Buyer can rescind the contract and get back his deposit. D. Buyer must continue with the transaction or be liable to a suit compelling his specific performance. Correct answer is C. Buyer can rescind the contract and get back his deposit. The listing stated the first trust deed was $110,000, but it is actually $100,000. This is a significant discrepancy and constitutes a material misrepresentation of a key financial detail of the property. A material fact is something that would influence a buyer's decision to purchase or the price they are willing to pay. In real estate, when there is a material misrepresentation, the buyer generally has the right to rescind the contract. Rescission means the contract is cancelled, and both parties are returned to their original positions as if the contract never existed. A fundamental part of rescission due to misrepresentation is that the buyer gets their deposit back. The deposit is usually held in escrow and is returned when a contract is validly rescinded. The buyer is not obligated to continue when there's a material misrepresentation from the seller or their agent. Losing the deposit would only happen if the buyer defaulted on the contract without a valid reason. While it might seem like a financial advantage, the buyer made their offer and entered the contract based on specific information, $110,000 debt. The buyer has the right to choose whether to proceed with a different financial scenario than what was presented. The value difference could impact their financing options, long-term payment plans, or overall investment strategy. The right to rescind exists due to the inaccuracy of the information provided, regardless of whether it's perceived as advantageous or not. Specific performance is a remedy typically sought by a seller when a buyer wrongfully backs out of a contract. In this case, the buyer has a legitimate reason, material misrepresentation, to withdraw, making them unlikely to be liable for specific performance.